Spike Nation, I'm back bringing you another fire video showing you how to trade one of the best strategies for working adults if you still want to bring in the big bucks. Roll the clip.
Episodic pivot is pretty much when you get news on a stock and the stock makes a big move on high volume. It's a big surprise to the market. If you want a method that doesn't give you too many signals, so it's great for working people, people have kids, you know. You don't need that much time. If you can be at the computer 30 minutes before the market opens until 30 minutes after the market has opened, that's all you need. Anyway, my point is, I think this is the best strategy for most people, but you need to, gain some experience first. You need to study hundreds of these or even thousands. If you can go back 5 years or whatever, I think going back the past 5 years is a good, because you get, sideways markets, you get bear markets, you get the COVID crash, you get the raging bull market, and you get a bear market. Everything is covered. You have all the market conditions are covered if you go back the past 5 years. And, it's just study EPs.
So that's Qullamaggie, an 8-figure trader, talking about the Episodic Pivot and why he thinks it's best for most people to trade. This is the main strategy that he's trading on stream currently, and this is also one of the main strategies that I trade and has led me to be profitable in 2023. But to get there, I had to do a lot of studying. So today I'll be showing you how to scan so you can look at this from a discretionary approach, looking at all the charts, or if you want to analyze the data. So let's get started creating those scans so you can be profitable too. You already know the drill, Spike Nation. Log in and I'll see you on the other side. So let's get started. We're going to head over to create data request in the top left. And we actually have two scans to make. We have an earnings scan and a news scan. But the earnings scan is actually two scans on its own. So it'll be a post-market and a pre-market. So we see we're in the date range page. In the date range page, you'll just simply fill out the name required. So we'll call this one News EP. So we're starting off with the news scan, and then we'll fill in the date. That'll be 5 years back. That's what he said, right? So 2018 to the current date. And you can see this is the first step of creating a scan. The second step is the filters. The third step is the columns, and then you have review. So let's move on to filters now. And in the filters, you create conditions to scan, to pull data, to filter out data by different sections. So those sections is identity, daily, and notice that they have the description right next to them. So identity, daily, intraday, indicator, fundamental, and custom. So let's get started filling this out. So for identity, we're going to be doing security class because I do not want to filter out by symbol. So I'll do security class is stock common, stock ADR. You can also add an ETF. I think that's valuable, but I actually don't trade ETFs for my scans, for my gapper strategy, so I won't be doing that. And then let's move on to daily. I usually like to have a certain price filter, so we'll do data point will be close, and then this will be unadjusted and adjusted. For pricing data, I usually use unadjusted in the filter section. If I was going to do like a multi-day scan or something, I would use adjusted because that will help me dodge all those splits that might cause gaps in the data between unadjusted. So I'll do -1 greater than 3. And just so you guys can see this, it says on day. This is just which day should the data point be pulled from. Current day is 0, previous day is -1, and next day is 1. So this is just setting what data you're going to filter by based on the event. So our event is going to be the gapper, and this is going to be the previous day to the gapper. So the close is going to be greater than 3. And you can see on the word display, it says unadjusted close price yesterday greater than 3. We will not have an intraday filter and indicator. I don't think we need an indicator. You could, for the indicator, use something like a volume, but I filter out by dollar volume. So we'll be doing that in custom. For fundamentals, you're going to want to do news on the day, so 12 a.m. to end time. So news during any part of the day. You could change this to the market hours, or I guess the pre-market hours to the market hours. But for news, we'll just leave it like this. Say add filter, and now we're good to go. Okay, so now we need to build out some custom formulas. The first one would be gap percent. Chris does a gap above 10. You can do whatever percent you want to do a study. I'll just follow his for now, gap above 10. And you're also, I always do this personally. I'll go here to build your own words. So this is the custom filters. So you'll get a good look at this before actual video comes out explaining this. But we'll do, what I want to create is a gap above yesterday's high. So I'll do today's open. So I'll do today's open is greater than yesterday's high. So very simple, quick, easy. I just created that. You can see today's open greater than yesterday's high. I'll add that. Then lastly, Chris wants to see big volume. I also look for big volume. So we'll do pre-market dollar volume, and I'll show you how to create that. So the best way to do these type of custom coding scans where you're actually almost coding is you can start off with the data point structure. So I'll just copy the data point structure. And once again, I'm not going to look for volume. I look for dollar volume, and dollar volume is just, it can just be the averages of the high and low, or you can do the close, the open. You can just do the average of that. I just kind of do the close times the volume. So that's what I'll be doing. So say intraday, I'll type in here 0. That's going to give us the current date, right? So intraday on the current date, the time will be pre-market is 4 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. And the function will be, I'm doing the volume first. So the function will be sum. Sum will give us the total. The data point will be volume. That is the data point we're looking at. I'll do unadjusted, right? I will copy this, add my math operator, and then I'll hit intraday, and all the stuff is copied, and I'll say last, we'll be getting the last price. We'll be getting the last close before, actually this should be 9:29, so let's change that. If I was doing open, that might be okay. Now we'll do greater than, and we'll do greater than some type of number. For this, we'll do greater than 100,000. That should give us a lot of pre-market, a lot of liquidity on our EPs. So in pre-market, we're seeing $100,000 volume. So we hit add filter, and now we have our first scan complete for our filters, and now we need to collect the data. So now we're in the column section. You can see the green 3 up here, letting us know we're in the column section. So let's start. We'll get the symbol. What you track is really going to be based on what you're trying to do, right? So I am just trying to create a scan so you guys can see. So our tracking is not going to be fully in depth. You can track whatever you want to, though. You can do security class, currency, whatever metrics you like. So we'll get the date, we'll get the open, adjust it, we'll get the high, adjust it, we'll get the low, adjust it, the close, adjust it, and the volume, adjust it, all on the current day of the gapper. You can see you have exchanged a number of trades. That might be something you're interested in. I'm personally not, so I'll just keep going. For intraday, we'll be looking to get some interesting intraday points. For example, we can get the high of the first 15 minutes. We'll do actually the first 5-minute high. Actually, let's do the first 1-minute high. I can't decide. Okay, so we'll get the opening range high, 1-minute opening range high. Right? So that's what we'll call that, 1-minute opening range high. We can make it adjusted. Now we'll get the 5-minute. 5-minute opening range high. Now we'll get the 15-minute. We'll do 45. 15-minute opening range high. So now we have the 1, the 5, and the 15-minute opening range high, and we can also do the low. So now we have some intraday data. We have the high, and we have the lows. We can probably get the volumes for those times, but like I said, this is just a scan to show you guys what you can do. So now we'll get the indicators that we want. We can do a VWAP, so we can get a VWAP for a certain period of time. So we can see if the VWAP for the first 15 minutes gets crossed or something. 9, put 45, and then we'll get the VWAP for that. Adjust it. Boom. Oh, yeah, we need to do 9 a.m. So we'll add that. And we can also get like a 10 SMA. So we can do close. The last offset will be number of days back you want to go from the start. So I'll start 1 day back, and days will be the number of days back you go. So it says for the last 100 days, set 100. I only want to go back 20. So now I'll do 20 SMA, right? Hit add column. So now I have a VWAP and a 20 SMA. Yeah, wait, let me edit this. Hit adjust it to make sure that's adjusted. So now I have the adjusted 20 SMA, right? And if we want to see a cross, if we want to know, I would need to know the close. So I already have the open of the first 15 minutes. I need to know the close of the first 15 minutes if I need to know if it crossed under of the first 15 minutes, because I'll have the high, low, and the close. So 09, 45, close. We'll do last, adjust it. Okay, I didn't change the AM again. Okay. 15-minute close. Add that. So now we have a 15-minute close with a bunch of other opening range high data. And we have VWAP. We can see in the first 15 minutes if it closed below VWAP or if it closed above. And then let's see, fundamentals. We want to know the news. We can look at the market cap also. That'd be interesting. Speaking of interesting, we have the earnings column, which is this is not actually in the filter section. So I can show you how to quickly use this. Let's say I wanted earnings. So I wanted something like EPS. I can type in earnings, and then I can type in one, so that's pulling the first, the second, and then I can go in here and type in revenue, put in the first quarter and the second quarter, hit add columns. And now we have the earnings and the revenue. Now we can get the gap, get the high of day, the low of day, and get the change from open and the change from close. So now we have a list of a bunch of different data for our scan. So you can do a lot more in detailed stuff with this. Me personally, I have a template that I create and I apply it to every scan for columns, data that I want to track. And then I also have an Excel template that correlates to that template that I have in Spikeet. So with that being said, you can do those type of things. I'll probably release a video on it later to show how much in detail and how you can really set up your process to developing an edge. But for now, this is just showing you how to create these scans so you can get started looking at these things. So we hit review. You see news EP 01, 01, 2018, 06, 19, 2023. That's our date range. Over here, we have daily updates, email notification, overwrite requests. So we'll do an overwrite request. This is just get rid of the last scan. And then we'll do daily updates. So that way, if someone wants to forward test this or just see, what is going on in the future for this scan, they can have all the information already being pulled daily. So we pretty much have everything we want. We hit get data. So this scan is being created, and what we can do here, we can save data request as template. So now we save this data request as template. We go to my templates, new EP. We can duplicate this. Actually, we can just use this template. So we'll just use this template and we'll hit edit filters. Actually, before we do that, let's turn this to earnings EP. So we'll do pre-market earnings EP. And with that, we'll do another 2018. And you'll see all the stuff is already saved in the template. So we'll just hit edit filters and you won't have to edit much. As you can see, this is our identity section. It's already filled out. Our conditions already been made. Security class is stock comment, stock ADR. That's what we want to filter by. You can see in our daily section that we already have the close inputted. So the close is greater than $3 the previous day. We didn't have an intraday or indicator before. And then we run into our fundamentals. As you can see here in our fundamentals, we already have the news here, but we want to switch this because this is the pre-market. So we're doing a pre-market earnings scan. So now we'll delete this first, and then we'll add the earnings, and we'll say for pre-market, it'll be on day 0. And then you'll see we have a start time here. Pre-market time set to 4 a.m. So we'll set that to 4 a.m. And then you'll have a end time, and you want to change this to 9:29. So 9:29 a.m. And then you'll say add the filter. So now you have your pre-market filter in there for earnings. And then you'll have the custom filters, which we already have inputted. So these will stay the same for pre-market, and we already have the pre-market time in. So yeah, we hit edit columns, hit review. You can turn on daily updates for this. And now we have a pre-market earnings scan tracking all the same columns as before, getting all the same data, looking at all the same gap data. Hit get data. Now we created another scan. So now we have 1 scan, 2 scans. So now we have a news earnings EP and a pre-market earnings EP. You can hit save data request as template. And now you see we have a pre-market earnings EP template. I can use this to create my post-market template. So let's hit use template. Let's change this to post-market. Post-market earnings EP, change this to 2018. You can actually change this to whatever date you want really, but 5 years back, right? So we'll just hit edit filters. We only have 1 filter to change. So you see our close is there. Close, adjusted, -1, greater than 3. So we'll go down here to the post market and we'll just edit this, right? So this says 4 a.m. to 2:59. What you need to do is you need to do -1 and you change this to post market hours. So your post market hours will be 4 p.m. to pretty much the end of the day. So we'll do 11:59 p.m. You click edit filters, and now that filter is now in there. Start time is 16. That's just how it correlates. It's doing military time. On day -1, that's the previous day. That's exactly what we want. So this is the post market, and we have once again all the custom formulas already there. We hit edit filters, and now we're ready to run this scan. Click daily updates, and same thing as before. Post market earnings scan 2018 to 2023. That's our 5 years. Hit get data, and now we completed 3 scans, and I'll be back when those scans are finished to show you what they look like. All right, so we're back and our scans are complete. We have our new EPs, post-market earnings EPs, pre-market EPs. These are the 3 scans we talked about. They are all complete now, and I showed you how to do all of them. So let's talk about what we can do with it. We have open data, so we can open the data and look at it. And in here, we could analyze all the data we want to. If you're a systematic trader, this is what you want to do. Or if you just want to study the news and how it affected the trades, you can do that. As you can see, we have the news labeled out. And as you can see, we have that 1 minute opening range high, 5 minute opening high. So if you're trading EPs on the opening range higher or opening range low, you can pull some statistics for that. And we have over here our gap percent, our high a day, our low. So you have a bunch of different variables and metrics you can pull by. So let's see how many we have for this new EPs. 8,631. I would say that's enough to do a deep dive on and start to fully understand and become profitable. Like I said, I am a profitable trader off this strategy, but to do that, I had to study tons, and Spikeet has definitely helped with this. So now we have the post-market earnings EP, and you can see this is kind of like the copied scan over. So all our columns is going to be the same. As you can see, symbol, name, date one. We have our 1 minute open range high to our 15-minute opening range high. And then we have the news. Open that up. So you can get the news. This is our earnings. So it should be stuff in here talking about earnings if we just look at that. And then we have the gap percent, high of day, and everything else. We can see how many post-market earnings we had. So we had 702 post-market earnings, or 701 if you minus the header row. And then for the pre-market earnings, we had 630. So this is enough to do a really complete deep dive. And then we can go look at the charting for those who might not be more on the analytical side, don't really want to analyze the data, want to look at the chart patterns and things of that nature. So if we look at that, you see when it pops up, we have this beautiful chart in Spikeet. You can obviously put in, like different indicators and things like that. We have videos showing that off already. So, and you can also change the charts per row. So I have mine on 1 and I have 20 charts per page. And with that, you can see here, we have this beautiful chart, and you can see the gap here. So you can go through and just look at all these. You can even scroll over to see how it performs, in the following days, what you would do. You can replay it if you want to. You can also change this to the 5 minute or the 1 minute. So you can see we're pulling all these charts, and you can make a database. It makes it very easy to study and become profitable, things of this nature, by pulling all this information. So you can also download it all to a page. So I kind of already downloaded it in advance, and you can see, look, we have a bunch of different, charts we can pull up, and you can see, you can pull up a bunch of different charts to see how they look, mark them up, do whatever you want. So this to me is very helpful to becoming profitable. So let's go over some general rules for EPs. So I got some general rules from Qullamaggie's blog site. This is advice coming from a 8-figure trader who main strategy is this. So what he's saying is Episodic Pivot is a stock that is finding a catalyst from unsuspected sources. So kind of like a surprise. And then you want to trade these setups based on some type of gap. This gap he chose is 10%. I think the number's more arbitrary. You need to dive into your studies to really figure out what works for you. You want to see big volume. So this big volume can be coming in, usually I would say pre-market or in the first kind of opening hour. And then you also want to see the stock has some type of news. Now the news can be a variety of things. For him, he says he trades biotech, earnings, government contracts, and things of that nature. What you want to stay away from is probably things like buyouts and acquisitions. But overall, you want to see some type of news hitting the market, and that's what you're reacting to, and confirm it with volume. And then lastly, for what you're looking for the stock to be neglected, he says. In general, you don't want to see the stock make like a big move. You don't want to see a multi-month move happening. You don't want to jump into that where it can possibly be overextended. So how do you trade this setup? Well, you have to trade the setup in pre-market. Well, not at pre-market, but you want to identify the setup in pre-market. So you want to check the news and see if that gap is happening. So after you see, hey, this stock is gapping up 10%, let's check the news. The news says blah, blah, blah. It's an earnings report. I'm going to get into this. And then you want to trade based on opening range high. If you do not know what an opening range high breakout, a break strategy is, then you can look that up on YouTube. There's a lot of information about it, but pretty much there's a high based on some type of range at the beginning of the day, some type of candle, 1 minute candle, 5 minute candle. At the top break of that candle, you then enter the stock. And then Qullamaggie says you can exit based on the 10 or 20 day moving average. So these is going to be the basic way you trade this strategy. I trade the strategy myself, or I trade a very modified version of this because like I said, I've done a lot of studying. You can get to that point too, but you need to put in the work. So after you get done putting in the work, you can become profitable on this and you can spend an hour a day trading and make tons of money. But that's going to wrap up this video, Spike Nation. I'll see you guys in the next one. Out.
Yo, Spike Nation, it's Marcus talking through AI. Subscribe, cause we have more awesome content on the way.